Hi everyone. So today we're back with another session of MBA Talks. Today we have Shraddha with us, who is currently pursuing MBA from one of the top B schools in India, IIT Dhanbad. Welcome, Shraddha.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So, Shraddha, can you tell us something about yourself, your profile, and why you chose to pursue MBA?
Yes. So, starting with my bachelor's, I am a chemical engineer by profession, and I completed my engineering in 2022 from University of Mumbai from Bandra. And after that, I worked as a software test engineer for 18 months with Mettler Toledo. And when I was working, I wanted to pursue my master's, but I was not sure where to go. So I was like, either I'll be going for MTech as my family wanted, or else there are option of MS outside India or MBA. So I said like I compared all the degrees, what are the career paths, and where I really want to see myself in the future. And I realized that I'm inclined towards management roles and into management and business world. So I decided with going for MBA, and I told my family that like give me a year. Let me prepare and let me see if I'm able to crack it. I'll go ahead and do MBA, or else what you say will do that. So I then started preparing for MBA, and today I'm here.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So, did you appear for any other entrance? Like, what entrance exam did you appear for?
Yes. So, in the beginning, when I started this whole journey of researching what exams to take, which colleges are there, and like Career 360 actually helped me a lot because you guys have lots of material available, which are very helpful. So, I went on to these different websites. Even my father registered on Career 360, and he used to send me all those SMSs that this is coming, this is what it is. So, Career 360 was a really helpful part of my journey. And then I decided that I'll be going for as the first stage is that you think that you'll give all the exams there are in the world for MBA. But then it was not possible for me. So I decided that I'll give CAT for sure. And then I'll give MHCET for Maharashtra colleges. And then I had also decided that I might appear for TISNET. But I was not sure about it. So at the end, I ended up giving only two exams, which is CET and CAT. I did not appear for SNAP or ZAT and NMAT.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how much percentile did you score in those exams?
So CAT, I scored a 92 point something. So that was my CAT percentile. And for MSCT, my percentile was 97.
Okay, that's great. So, let's start with CAT first. Okay, so when did you start preparing for it?
Yes. I started preparing around mid June 2022.
Okay, so
Yes.
what was your preparation strategy for, like for
Yeah.
CAT?
So I had really less time, like June. So you say June, July, August, September, October. Hardly 5 to 6 months I had in my hand. And first 1 month went into research and what to do and how to approach this whole scenario. And I decided that I will be needing help from external sources. So I signed up with classes and IMS classes in Mumbai itself. And I was deciding between should I go for offline classes or online classes. And since I am from the COVID batch, I knew there is no study happening in the online session. So I was like, no, I need to go to the classroom. I need to take classes in person. So I decided in classroom session. And at the same time, I had gotten an offer for the software test engineer role. So I took that also because if this doesn't work out, I should have something in my hand. So managing classes with a full time job is difficult, and since I was in the last few remaining, so I had to attend the full classes of Monday to Friday. So if as soon as you join, it is like you need to take few classes, but if you're joining at the end, you will have to take more classes in order to cover the syllabus. So that is how my journey for MBA started. But once my job started, I was like, this is not happening. It's very difficult to manage the classes and then job. So I continued the classes for 2 3 months, but at the end, like we have the exam in November, and October, September, October, I was not attending any classes. So I shifted my strategy that at least I need to give as many mock tests as I can. So I started taking up exams every weekend, and that is how I went ahead. So CAT was that, and for CET the syllabus is more or less the same, but the question paper pattern and the marking system is very different than CAT. So in CAT you have negative markings, and CET is just MCQ and no negative markings. So in CET it is all about speed. So I made sure that I'm able to ramp up my speed to that level that I'm able to attend all the questions. So that was for CET. And I for verbal especially, my highest percentile in three sections from CAT was verbal, which is 98. So for verbal, the only advice I would give is read as much as you can, anything you like, but like read something or the other, because you need that reading speed for able to complete those comprehensive questions in CAT. And if you don't have the speed, you will miss out on questions. And verbal is the only section where you also have theta type question, where you just need to enter the answer, and it is not negative, so you should not miss out on those questions. So verbal is something you can focus on. And there are people who enjoy doing math, and then there are people who do not enjoy doing math. So I was someone who liked doing math, so quant was not that difficult for me. But for quant also, it is practice. As much as you practice, you understand the paper pattern, the question pattern, and naturally your thought process develops, that okay, this is the question and this is how I need to tackle it. For logical and data section, it was pretty difficult for me because I was not able to concentrate much on that section. So I got the lowest percentile in that, which is 69. So for that reason, I was not able to apply lots of B school, because there is a sectional cutoff, which is either 70 or 75 depending on college to college. So just one percentile like made me not able to apply lots of colleges. So that is something I would also tell the people to keep in mind, that make sure that you're at least crossing the sectional percentile in each section. It's not just about getting 90 plus, it's also about having those cutoffs in the sections also.
So, how many hours did you devote to your preparation for CAT and MARSET every day?
Yes. So daily, I used to make sure that I'm giving at least 3 to 4 hours. I used to, while commuting for my job or going home or wherever I'm commuting, used to make sure that I have something on my hand to read, because reading is something you can do on the go also. So I used to make sure that I'm doing the reading part like that if I'm not able to cover it up at home. And other than that, I used to do quants because I really enjoyed doing quants. So it was not a hassle for me. The problem was allied here, and I ended up ignoring it a lot, which was not a good thing. So I would suggest that at least solve 3 to 4 sets of different types of the questions every day. So as much as you solve, you will understand that okay, it is not so difficult, but you need to go through so many types of questions to understand what the logic is, so that you can immediately solve it in the exam. Because in LIDR, it's like you get one a set and it has 4 to 5 questions under it. So if you are able to crack one set, you get all the answers below it. So you need to spend time on that.
Right.
Yes.
So, can you brief us, like, what are the some important topics that a CAT aspirant must focus on, even in MARSET?
Yeah. So for quants, it will be percentages and interest, and you need to be quick on your feet to calculate what the percentage is. That is something my professor used to tell me in the classes, that you have to keep doing this. And in algebra or geometry, you need to know the formulas. Like make a formula sheet. Every time you solve any question, write down all the formula in different notebook and make sure that you keep revisiting it, because there are so many questions which are direct, and it's like you don't remember the formula. So that ends up happening a lot of time in CET as well as in CAT. So there are few questions which are direct, so you need to be thorough with the formula, so you can attempt those direct questions. So formula sheet is something you should keep handy a lot. Yes. And for verbal, you need to focus. I feel comprehensive part is something like you can get the paragraph from any topic. There is no particular topic that you'll get from history or you'll get from economy. It can be anything under the umbrella. So you need to make sure that you are reading diverse topics so that you can grasp what the meaning of the comprehension is. So you are able to answer the questions as such. And then there are different grammar questions as well, where you have to like arrange the sentences, and this is the question I was saying, you have to type in your answers. So these are mostly not negative marking, so you can attempt that also. So you will get all the this scenario in your head once you start reading and you understand what the flow of the paragraph is, or what is the sequence the sentences should come in. So as much as you read, you'll understand how it should be structured and what should be the grammar. So there are many times when you hear the sentence you feel this is right, but that is because you have been talking like that. That does not mean that it is actually how the grammar is supposed to be. So focus on actual grammar part as well.
Okay. So were
Yeah.
there any books that you found really helpful while your preparation?
So I actually was focusing on all the courses which was provided by the class. So I did not go for any external books per se. So I used all the materials which was provided by the class itself.
Oh, so like you said that you were also working and you attended the classes for few months. So how did you manage the timings and how did you schedule your preparation between those hours?
Yeah. So when I was attending the classes, I used to be able to give hardly 1 or 2 hours maximum. So I used to just do daily work like what they have taught, and then the questions which they had told us to go home and complete as homework. So I used to make sure that I'm completing the homeworks, and during the weekends I used to make sure that I'm revising all the things I have learned in that week, so that it does not pile up at the end. Because as I said, I had really less time on my hand, so my main goal was to cover all the syllabus and then focus on which part is important and which I can easily solve. So that is how I went about it.
Okay. So first you gave CAT and then you gave MASET, right?
Yes.
So your main focus was on CAT only while you were preparing and taking the classes that you want to crack CAT and like get in.
Yes. So, see, for the batch which I had registered in, CET syllabus was offered as workshops, not full classes. And my main focus was CAT, because as much as I had heard, it was like you need to score at least 90 plus to get into a decent or say top 50 B schools of India. So that was my focus, that I need to crack above 90. That is what I had kept in my mind. And CET was like a backup for me. If CAT doesn't work out, let's have CET as a backup, because in CET you do not have the whole like process of giving interviews and then like having written exams again depending on the B school. In CET you just need to get the percentile and you need to have a rank and you get into the college. So that is what a lot of difference is. I would like to suggest that students who are not that confident on their profile, like their 10th mark, 12th mark, or their bachelor's marks, or they don't have work and they are not that like, there are candidates who are really good at what they do, but they struggle with giving interviews or having in person discussions about their life or something. So for those students, CET is a really good option, because they do not like do all this process which normally B schools does. So you get a chance at having a admission in a very good college through CET as well. So if you're scared of the whole process after CAT, you can focus more on CET.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like a lot of students underestimate the value of giving mocks. So, what did you found that why is it so important and when did you start giving mocks regularly for your preparation?
So regularly, I was acquainted with the syllabus of all the different sections. I started giving mocks around August, I would say. End of August, I started giving mocks, and I was giving them weekend wise, like one mock every weekend, and then I shifted to at least giving 2 to 3 during the week. Because what mocks do is they make your brain trained to the whole time duration, and the slot which you are going to be assigned for the CAT exam is not in your hands. For example, my slot was early morning, so you can get early morning then afternoon, or like timing is not in your hand. So make sure that you are sitting in different times, so that your body and brain gets used to that time zone and you are able to sit through it, because we are not used to sitting at a stretch and solving things. We are always fidgeting or looking at phones, or like we are not completely concentrated. So I would suggest that give mocks as if you're giving your final exam, like no phone, no distraction, nothing, just the your pen and paper and your whole exam session.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you used to analyze your mocks?
So we used to like I enrolled in the classes, so we used to have a discussion each class, that what were the questions you faced difficulties, and we used to get a detailed analysis report as well, that how the class students are performing, how the branch student are performing, and then like they had different ways to segregate the students and mark them. So at a glance we could see all our performances and how we are doing compared to the other students, and which is the part we are lacking. Like I used to get a detailed analysis report through the class, so it really helped me because I did not have time to sit and analyze my own mock answers. Yeah.
So, since you were working and then you thought of giving, like preparing for MBA, so should a person pursue MBA right after graduation, or should they have some certain level of experience before, doing MBA? So, what's your take on that?
I would suggest that work for some time. You will actually understand how the corporate life is, how the businesses work. Because if you directly come to MBA, it will be like you're just reading the theory and you do not have real world experience. And also, B schools do give you points if you have certain level of work ex. So if you have more than 12 months, you'll get certain points. If you have more than 2 3 years, so you'll get more points. So if as your work experience increases, your point system also increases on your profile. So it is also helpful not just for your own understanding and your own knowledge, but it also helps with like getting into B school admissions, because there are different ways the B schools assign you points based on your 10th, based on your 12th, then based on your bachelor's marks, based on extracurriculars, and workex is a really good, like, important factor in that.
Okay. So, how different was your MASET preparation strategy from a CAT? Were there many like major differences that you found? Any problems that you faced? Something.
So for MHCET, the syllabus is a little different. Like there are more or less it is the same, but the as I said, most of the time the focus should be on time. It is a time bound exam. So as uh, it depends how quickly you can solve the exam, every question, and I made sure that I have to attempt all the questions. Even if I'm not able to solve it, I have to attempt the questions. And in CET there are many direct questions, so formula is very important. You need to have your formula on your fingertips, that okay, I read the question, I know which formula I have to apply, and you have to keep on solving is the only thing which can help in CET. Like as many papers you solve, you will reduce your time taken for each question, and eventually you'll be able to get more number of questions right, which will help you score more marks. So that is where the strategy differs, because in cat there is negative marking, so you have to be careful of how many questions you're attempting, just like that. Because if you attempt questions which you're not sure, you might end up damaging your percentile, which you do not want to do. But in CET you have the liberty to do that, because there are no negative markings. So make sure that you are practicing a lot. That improves your time and accuracy as the time goes.
Okay, so would you like to recommend some mistakes that you might have made while preparing for CAT or MASET that any other student should not?
So, as I shifted to CET, I was not taking mock tests that seriously, because I was like, now I've given CAT, let's CET is just a backup, we'll do like that and that. But be more determined, be a little serious about any exam you give, even if it is a backup. Attempt it as it is the first chance, and give it the priority it deserves, because you never know what can go wrong on the exam day. How much ever you prepare, how much you have efforts put does matter, but there is a luck factor which does play into role. Because in CT for my batch, the slot I was assigned did not have any time issues or such, but the other slots faced those things and they had to repeat the exams. So if you have given your best on that day, but you ended up giving again because your luck was not with you. So those things can happen. And CET, like there was no fixed schedule, it went on postponing due to COVID and everything. So there are these factors, but I'll suggest that be serious about the preparation. Give as many mock tests you can. Take up like different courses from, there are many people who give CETs, mock exam plans, so you can take up that. If you exhaust all the resources, there are many resources in the market. Make sure you utilize everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, what was your exam day strategy?
I did not touch my book for 2 days before the exam. I just like chilled out. I was with my friends. I had good food. I watched Friends, and I was like just like I was trying to be calm. It's okay. I've done everything I can now. I just have to go and I have to attempt all that I know. So you need to be relaxed before exam time. I know the frustration is there, the stress is there, and how will the results pan out. There are students who are attempting it for second or third time, so it can be really stressful as the time goes, but you have prepared, so trust yourself and be confident. And because if you stress more, you will end up ruining the questions you are able to attempt as easily you can. So do not stress, just attempt it as if you're giving any other mock. So don't take a lot of stress. Have good food, have good sleep, and be prepared.
Okay. So, like in the last week or few days before exam, so did you do a lot of revision and or did you take up any new topic? Did you do something like that?
No, I did not touch new topics because there was no point in touching new topics at such a short notice. So I focused more on the areas I'm comfortable in. So as I said, I was very much interested in verbal because I have a habit of reading since my school days. So reading isn't something which is like exhausting for me. I like doing reading. So I read more, and it gave me a peace of mind. So I did the topics which I'm comfortable in. It also helps boost your confidence. So I would suggest do not go to new topics at the end. It will just make you more stressful. So just focus on the topics you are good at, you are confident in, and keep revising the formula sheets and keep seeing the questions from above.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were preparing for CAT, were there any colleges on your list that you wanted to get into?
Yeah, so my list consisted of IITs, and obviously IIMs everyone try. So there were those, and from CET I was focused on either JBIMS or SIDNAM. These two colleges are which are really good to get in through CET. So I was focused on these colleges. IIT because the fees was a major factor for me. As we all know, IIMs charge a lot, and that is something I was not very comfortable with because I was like, ki, I am going to fund my own studies and I do not want to take up a loan or ask my parents to do that. So IITs was on my priority because the fees they charge are very less compared to IIMs, and the ROI is really good. So that is how I had prepared my list. I made sure that I applied to all the IITs and IIMs, as I said, because for quants I was just behind 1 percentile, so I was not able to convert those. So I just steered clear of those colleges which had strict sectional cutoffs, because we do apply in the hopes that okay, they might just accept us, but they are very strict with the sectional cutoffs, so you just end up losing more money in the application process, so it did not make sense for it.
Right, right. So, like, for CAT, which all B schools did you get calls from?
So I got calls from IIT Jodhpur, IIT Kanpur, and IIT Dhanbad. And yeah, these three colleges for IIT. And IIMs, I did get call from IIM Bangalore and IIM Kozhikode, but for not the flagship program. It was a PhD in management. So that are the calls I got from those.
Okay. So, why did you choose IT Dhanbad over all these colleges?
Yes. So IIT Dhanbad is like first the fee factor. The fees are really less. It's around total is around maximum 4 lakhs. It won't go beyond that. So the fees was one thing, and second was I was able to grasp a lot of idea about the institute since it is almost almost 100 years old. It will get like we will complete 100 years in 2026. So the alumni network is very strong here. Even if ISM Dhanbad was converted into IIT very late, but the whole alumni section is very strong. So I felt that network is really important and contacts are really important, and which I will be exposed to in this campus. So that is how I chose.
Okay. So did you pay for the selection round of those B schools?
Yes, I there is a minimal application fee in every B school application process. I believe it starts from 1,000, and for AMS I feel it can go up to 2,000, 3,000 also. So for each B school you have to pay different application fees. So it can round up to a lot of amount depending on how many B schools you're applying to.
Like, did you pay for the GDPI round, whatever the selection process
Yes.
is?
Yes. So like all the application where I got shortlisted from, there was a GDPI round, and like we had option of either online or offline. So I chose online for Jodhpur and Dhanbad, and for Kanpur, I had only option of offline. So they had the GDPI round in the outreach center, which is in Noida. So I had attended it from there. So that was also a whole new experience because you do not know what they are going to ask, because they can ask you anything and everything under the umbrella. So there were GD sessions, and then there were personal interview sessions, and you learn a lot from there. I would suggest that do not be scared. It is very intimidating, but they are just professors or they are just seniors who are in this industry for a very long time, and they just want to know your thought process. Whatever the questions they are asking, they are trying to understand how will you tackle a problem, because management is something you have to work with different people of different personalities and different mindset. So they want to know how is your thought process, how you go about any scenario which is there, or any situation which comes up, or any conflict you are there in. So they try to understand how is your thought process and what are your views on different topics in the uh, current scenario or current business world. So just be updated on different things happening in the news. Do read the news. Like, they will ask you, if you tell them that this is my favorite topic, or I like doing this, so they might go into the nitty gritties of that. So make sure that you are saying what you're really confident about and you are well aware of that topic. So if you do not know answer to any questions, just be honest that you do not know. There is no point in blabbering about things that you don't know, because obviously they know about it. So you do not have to make a fool of yourself. Be confident and choose topics only which you are really confident and comfortable in.
Okay. So during your interview at IT Dhanbad, what questions were asked?
Yes. So my interview was taken by our current HOD and our ex HOD, who is currently the director of IIT Dhanbad. So they asked me about my bachelor's, the common question like, tell us about yourself. And then they asked me about my work ex, and I was asked about how the different geographical areas are segregated into rural and urban and semi-urban. What are the criterias in this, and how does population play into this? And I was also asked about, like, my name is Shraddha. So what is the meaning of Shraddha? What is the different words which can be synonymous to the meaning of Shraddha? So it went into a little verbal zone, and I would say it was pretty normal. There were not many technical questions per se. As I said, they only like judge your thought process and what is your views on different things. We did discuss a political issue. It was about the construction of a new highway in Maharashtra. So we were talking about that also. So yeah.
Okay, great. So since you appeared for the GD round as well, so what type of topics are allotted and how should one appear for GD? Like some tips if you would like to add.
Yes. So for GD, IIT Kanpur had a GD round in which the topic for my group was is finance, like financial planning should be incorporated in the courses of colleges, course structure of curriculum of colleges. So that was our topic, and we had around, I feel, 10 to 12 students. You do not know the number which seat you are going to be assigned. You just get the chit and then you'll sit accordingly. So you can be sitting at the father's left or the father right, and or else in center. So you do not have choice over that. You will be assigned a seat, and there will be 2 to 3 panelists listening to your conversation, your group discussions, and you have to put forward your point very firmly and make sure that you talk. You cannot just like raise your hands or say that may I talk. You have to be assertive and you have to put forward your point, whatever it may be. If you're for the topic, you have to justify like why you are for the topic, and if you're against the topic, just give proper reasoning that this is what I believe and this is what should happen. So you get around a minute to think about the topic. You get a pen and paper, you can jot down any points you want to say, and like you have the paper with you throughout the discussion, so you can even keep looking and keep checking if there are people who have already said your point, or there are people who are not said your point, so you can add new points accordingly. And if you are adding the same point, you can use phrases like to add on to what the person said, or yes, I also believe what the person has said and I believe because. So make sure that you are bringing something new to the table with each sentence, so that you are making an impact. So that is how the GD round goes. And at the end, they can choose randomly to anyone to sum up the whole discussion. Like, what is the final conclusion of the whole group discussion? And in my round, it happened that at the end of each GD, they give you around 10 seconds to sum up the whole situation, and they'll call you randomly. So you have to make sure that you're not like, there were people who were just blabbering on and the time finished, so they just say that okay, stop. So you have to keep in mind the time duration as well, and then anyone can be asked on front to conclude. So be ready to conclude. Even if they do not ask you, you need to be ready to conclude. That is how the GD goes.
Okay, so this was really informative. I enjoyed listening to all this. So, I wanted to ask that how much importance does profile building has during the selection rounds, and for a fresher, uh, how must a student build his profile? Like, what experiences should he or she must have to get a better selection?
Yes. So for a fresher, I would suggest focus on your internships. Do as many internships you can during your bachelor's, because internships you cannot fill in the application form as a work ex. So, but you can talk about it in the different questions which are asked in application process, like what are your weaknesses, or talk about any project you came across and you faced some difficulties and how you overcame. So these are few questions which are typically asked in the application process, and there you can include your internship experience, that during this time this is something I learned and this is something I faced. So you have to incorporate your internship experience in order to make your profile a little bit stronger. And during once you are shortlisted during the personal interview round also, you can drive the conversation in that direction, that these were my experiences. Focus on your internship, focus on your extracurriculars, I would suggest, because having extracurriculars really helps boost your profile. If you have the 10th percentage, you have the 12th percentage, and you are also having good bachelor's percentage. So these are the things which will make you stand out more. Something as you have achieved something on a national level or state level, anything in sports, anything in dance, any other extracurricular activities. So make sure you're building your personal skills as well, not just technical skills. So it will help you talk about yourself a lot. You will have different experiences to share, because in IIT Kanpur interview, as I am a professional Bharatanatyam dancer, so I have a diploma in that. So we had a whole discussion on why men are not into classical dances in India, given that India has so many classical dances and such a rich heritage and culture. Why do you feel there are no men in the classical dance industry? So I answered those questions. I said that there are men. It is not like that there are just women. It's just that there is a whole stereotype around this, that men who pursue classical dance are not men enough. So that is something as a society we need to change. because there are many men who are very comfortable with Western dances, but at the same time, for classical dances, they would feel a little inferior. So we had a whole discussion around it. And even I am also a national level volleyball player. So we had a discussion in that why did you not pursue volleyball as a profession? What do you think is the reason there are students not pursuing like sports as their main career? So it gives you a lot of things to talk about apart from just your 10th, 12th and bachelor's. So build your profile accordingly, do things you really enjoy doing, like not just for the sake of profile, because once you enter B school, then there are placements and all stuff, so these things matter there also. So it is going to help you in the longer run.
Right, right. So, your focus was IITs when you appeared for CAT, but for MASET, what were the colleges on your list?
Yeah, for Maset, my like the area of focus was JBIMS and Sidnam, because both of these have, like, again, less fees, but the ROI and the exposure these two colleges gives are really really great. So these were two colleges I was looking at.
Okay, so did you get any calls from them or?
No, because I come from general category, so the cutoff for these both are 99. At max, it might go down to 98, but not below that. So
Okay.
I was not able to convert.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, any other B schools that approached you?
Uh, I don't think so. Like there were colleges like uh, different colleges. I think IBS, and then there was Great Lakes Institute, and like these there were these colleges, but I was not that keen on going to these colleges, so I did not like go ahead with the process.
Okay. Great. So let's talk about IIT Dhanbad now. So how is your experience so far?
Yes. So I am currently in my second semester at IIT Dhanbad, and just gave my mid-semester exams. Being in an IIT is really, really changing the way you look at the world. And I always wanted to get into an IIT more than me. My family wanted me to get into an IIT. So the brand there is, and the tag you get being an IIT is real. So the first day I had here was very chill. We did not had any classes yet, and we met with our seniors. We had a bonding session. There was like they told us about their experience. We got to know about different classmates we had, and then once we had registered, like the physical registration was done, the hostels were allotted. My classes started on, I think, 1st August. And in the first year you have common classes, like so IIT Dhanbad has two MBA divisions. One is general MBA, in which you choose your specialization in the second year, which is HR, finance, operations and marketing. And another is MBA in business analytics. So you can choose either of these to apply during the application process, and based on your interest you can go ahead in any one of those. So the first semester is, we all have common courses, the BA people and the normal MBA core people. And in the second semester, the courses change. So BA people are more focused on like different labs and data analytics courses, whereas we have different courses compared to them. And the life here is very fun, I would say. We have different fest. Every other day something or the other is going on. Currently we are having our sports fest, which is Parakram. It started yesterday. It will end tomorrow. So there are people from IIT Kharagpur, then NITs and different colleges locally here. They come to our campus. They stay here. We have competitions. So there is sports fest going on. Then we had Shan here as a singer, and so you enjoy a lot. There are many ways where you can like just chill and rewind and relax. So you do not have to worry about it, and there are many clubs you can join. I am a part of my sports team as well, so I participated in the Inter IIT Sports Fest, which happened in IIT Gandhinagar in December. So IIT Gandhinagar and IIT Bombay had co-hosted the Inter IIT Meet. So athletics was happening in Gandhinagar. So I was there with my team and I participated. And before that, we had annual sports day. and before that we had Concito, which is another techno management fest, and we had very huge people coming here giving their experiences. There were sessions going on, so overall a very rich and enriching experiences it has been.
So, what all did you learn from the societies that you joined there?
Yes. So I have been like not a integral part of any society, but I have been at the receiving end. So they conduct different seminars, they conduct different webinars. There are workshops going on. There are case study competitions going on. So you have this whole like situation where people are participating in different competitions, learning different things. We also participated in IIM's competition, and we got third prize in the case study competition. So there are a lot of things going on, and you learn as you study your courses as well. So you attend the lectures in the morning, and then during the day you will apply to different competitions. You will come up with different strategies how to participate in this. And yeah, it is fun, but it is challenging as well, because like you will be having exams, you will be having quizzes, you will be having case study presentations in the classes, and then randomly they can ask you any questions. You will have to make PPT at the very end moment. So it is very hectic, but it is at the same time very learning experience.
Okay. So, are there any guest lectures at IIT Dhanbad?
Yes, so guest lectures happen. Like we have a alumni series almost every other weekend. Alumni who have passed out, who conduct a session. They tell about their experiences, how they are currently doing in their own organization or the corporate life, and how was their experience, what things to learn, which skills to focus on, and which other extra courses you can take. For example, now there is a course going on Six Sigma in our college, which has been conducted by KPMG. So there are things happening around the clock. So you can register in them, you can get exposure, and you can learn around it. You can be very sure about what you want to do once you figure out. You can talk to seniors, you can reach out to them on LinkedIn. It's very cordial, and they help you out as well.
Okay, thanks. So, like, what are you studying at IIT Dhanbad? Can you tell us about something about the curriculum?
Yes. So in first semester, we had like introduction to different sectors. For example, we had uh, financial accounting and reporting, which is a part of finance, and then we had management principles and practices. We had two labs, which was advanced Excel and business communication lab. So we used to have these labs mostly in the second half of our college. And then we had decision modeling, we had economics, managerial economics, and so these are the courses which eventually introduce you to the world of business, how exactly the economy works, what are the financing practices which are followed by different organizations, what are the rules, how to do budgeting, and how there are certain principles and theories placed in the business world, in the marketing world. So you are exposed to this. Then for IIT Dhanbad specifically, the course curriculum is more focused on case study approach. So you get a lot of case studies in your hand, and you have to solve them, and you have to come up with strategies, and you have to present it to your professor. So there are many groups and many case studies. Like we get to the presentation almost every other day, and we have a plethora of options, and like the way every student looks at the case study is different. So we have many scenarios and many perceptives in front of us. So we have discussions around it. So that is how first semester went. And in second semester, there are the next step of these courses. So we have marketing management, we have HR in this course, then we have corporate finance, and we have operation management and organizational behavior, which is a very integral part of the psychology behind how a employee works, how a manager should be, how a leader is. So these are the things we are learning in this semester. We have software lab, we have simulation lab. So it is a mix of technical skills as well as management skills. So it helps build a whole personality, and all the skills are taken into consideration, and you get better as the day goes.
Okay. So, like if one is pursuing MBA from IT, so the course is more inclined towards engineering, or is there a balance between management and engineering aspect? So,
It is both. I would not say it is more inclined towards technical. It is at the end it is a management course, but they do take into consideration the hard skills also required for the job role or the specific job role which you have in mind. For example, as I said, business analytics. So they have more courses which are more focused on the analytics sides. So they'll be having different labs and different courses accordingly. The only lectures which are common for us are HRM, which is human resource management, and corporate finance. So they have these like major part of businesses and MBA, and as well as the analytics part. So depending on where your interest is, you can choose accordingly.
okay.
Yeah.
So, like in decent average B schools, the teachers usually have only theoretical knowledge, but in top B schools like IITs, they have like good corporate experience. So, how is the faculty of IIT Dhanbad?
Yes. So the faculties are really great. They know what they are doing. Especially our HOD. He has a very rich experience of industry. He is a marketing person and he was in the industry more than 10 years. So he has been around different organization, and we can see that in the classes he teaches us, because he's so passionate about what he teaches. So not just him, every professor who is teaching the subject are masters in that. They have PhDs. They are like they have done their research, and we can really see that they are actually passionate about that topic, and they really love teaching that particular topic. So it is very engaging, and at the same time I feel very grateful that I am able to learn from these faculties who have plethora of knowledge, and they always try to make us better. And yeah, so the difference can be seen like from IIT professors and non IIT professors, because I have been in bachelor's where I was in a non IIT college, so there is difference at the end.
Okay, great. So, like, when you're studying, after those hectic hours of studying for MBA and different subjects, what do you do to relax and just chill after college or in college? What was that
Yeah.
fun factor?
Yes. So we have like student activity center, which has gym, which has swimming pool. The swimming pool here is of the Olympic size, and you can register into swimming classes. You have shooting classes. You have dance workshops going on. So I normally go to the gym, or I'll be on the ground, because that is where I enjoy being. But there are students from my classes who have enrolled into the swimming classes. So that is how they choose to unwind. Then if you want to, you can just go away for the weekend. There is waterfalls here, and if you want to go to Kolkata, you can go to Kolkata. You can have a day out like that with the classmates of yours. And the campus itself is very huge and very beautiful, and the library is very great. So we have the Asia's largest technical library, and it has so many books, and you can just spend the whole day there, because the library is open till 12 in the night, and there are no restrictions. So you can be in the library, you can enjoy, or you can just chill also. We do go there and we just watch movies sometimes, or we just have fun in the group discussion room, because we can enjoy there. Then there are different hangout spots here where you can like go for a quick bite or just a normal juice, or there is main canteen, and there are a lot of things to do.
Okay, so I'll be coming to IT Dhanbad.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay, Shraddha, I guess that's it. It was a really interactive and fun session. And thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
And best of luck for your
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed this interactive session. For more information on IT Dhanbad, CAT and MASET preparation, check the description box below. And if you like this video, do like, share, and subscribe.